Looking at this idyllic scene, it's a bit like a little wilderness, yet it's only half a mile from the habitation and about 4 miles from Plymouth city centre. The River Plym has now become a woodland river and will remain so until it reaches Dartmoor, but we will be taking a different route further on.
So this bridge behind us was originally built in the 13th century to link Plimpton with Tavistock. Of course, in those days they would have to go either by walking or by pack horse or whatever.
I am grateful to Ernie Hoblin for allowing me to use some of his research. He has researched the Plymbridge Woods for the past 10 years and published this detailed guide called Industrial Archaeology of the Plym Valley. We have reached the old railway bridge, which took the railway up to Yelverton and on to Princetown or Tavistock, but we'll come back to explore this railway in detail later. I want to discover why there's a canal here and why there are some granite sleepers on the towpath. We'll follow this path to find an explanation. But for now, I'll follow the path up the cycle track which formed the bed of the railway. The map shows my route, a half-mile walk up to Cann Viaduct, where some of my questions may be answered. The viaduct provides a remarkable and, I feel, a breathtaking vista. To the right is Cann Quarry, and it is here that I want to make sense of the landscape.
I've arrived at Cann Quarry behind me, and this is where our investigation really starts.
There's been a quarry here since about the 1700s, but obviously getting the slate from here down to where it's going to be exported would have been some trial. In 1818, a man called Thomas Turbot had a brilliant idea. He thought to get the minerals from up on the moor down to Crabtree. So he got an Act of Parliament to enable him to bring the granite and what have you down. And on the way he would pick up other things like slate from quarries like this, which is Cann Quarry. By 1820 he got an Act of Parliament, and by 1821 he got another Act of Parliament extending the line into Plymouth.
Faced with getting the slate out of the quarry and over the river and up to the top of the hill where the new tramway was running would have been quite an undertaking. The Morley family thought it was their right to have access to this railway, so he demanded to have a rail link done. But by 1821 the company constructing the tramway ran out of money, so he was out of luck. So instead he built a canal, and which ran down to Marsh Mills. The canal ran from 1829 until about 1834, or maybe 2 or 3 years afterwards, we're not too sure. At which point a branch line, which we already looked at, was taken from Sainsbury's, or Crabtree as we know it,
up to here at Cann Quarry.
Now the landscape is making sense. The granite sets, placed about a metre apart, supported cast iron rails, which were made in London. Each rail section was about a metre in length. The shape has been dubbed fish belly, so that it could support the loads between the sleepers. Back at Cann Quarry, it has long been abandoned. The best quality slate had been worked out, and the quarry survived for a while, producing elven. A quarryman called Edward Gullett worked the quarry until he retired in 1910. Today, however, a new resident has moved in. The RSPB have been keeping an eye on peregrines, who now occupy the precarious ledges to rear their chicks. Back in the late 1800s and early 1900s, the buildings within the quarry included workshops and a water wheel. Here is a wheel pit. It's difficult to envisage how it may have looked, but here's an impression that I produced. A launder would have supplied the water from Horrabrook nearby. I want to explore the other side of the river to Rumpel Quarry, and so to piece together more of the interesting history and make further connections between the two quarries.